Imagine a time when the world as we know it was not fully discovered. A time when the United States of America was just unknown land to the Europeans. This land, rich with natural beauty and resources, was home to a vibrant tapestry of indigenous tribes, each with their own unique cultures and societies. From the Iroquois Confederacy in the northeast to the Navajo in the southwest, these tribes thrived, cultivating the land and developing complex social structures. They hunted, fished, farmed, and built settlements, their lives intricately tied to the land they revered. Their stories, their struggles, their triumphs were written on this very soil, long before the sails of European ships appeared on the horizon. Then came the year 1492, a year that marked the beginning of a significant transformation. But that, dear listeners, is a story for the next scene. The year 1492 saw the arrival of an ambitious explorer named Christopher Columbus, who believed he had found a new route to Asia. Yet what he had stumbled upon was an entirely new world, unbeknownst to the Europeans. This marked the dawn of the Age of Exploration, a period teeming with discovery, conquest, and colonization. As word of the New World spread across Europe, it ignited a spark in the hearts of explorers and monarchs alike. It was a call to adventure and the promise of untold riches that led many to venture into the unknown. The New World was seen as a land of opportunity, a place where one could find gold, spices, and other exotic goods that were highly valued back in Europe. Spain, the country that sponsored Columbus's voyage, was the first to establish a stronghold in the New World. The Spanish conquistadors, led by audacious men like Hernán Cortés and Francisco Pizarro, sought to extend Spain's empire and influence. They were driven by the three G's, gold, glory, and God, as they sought wealth, personal fame, and the spread of Christianity. Yet, Spain was not alone in this endeavor. England, led by explorers like Sir Walter Raleigh and John Smith, began to establish colonies along the eastern seaboard of what is now the United States. Unlike the Spanish, who sought gold and glory, the English were more interested in establishing permanent settlements, driven by a desire for religious freedom and economic opportunity. France, too, made its mark on the New World. French explorers like Samuel de Champlain and Jacques Cartier navigated the vast river systems of North America, establishing a strong French presence in the region known as New France, which covered large parts of what is now Canada and the United States. As exploration turned into colonization, the various European powers began a fierce competition for control of the New World's resources. This marked the beginning of an era of conflict and upheaval as the Old World and the New World collided. The stage was set for a clash of civilizations, the impact of which would forever change the course of history. As colonies thrived and tensions with European powers escalated, the seeds of revolution were sown. This was a time when the very idea of freedom began to ferment in the minds of the colonists, leading to a series of events that would forever change the course of history. The Boston Tea Party, for instance, was a pivotal moment in the lead up to the American Revolution. It was more than just an act of defiance against the British and their taxing tea. It was a statement, a loud and clear message to the British Crown that the colonists would not be passive subjects. They were ready to fight for their rights and liberties, and fight they did, under the leadership of men whose names are now etched in the annals of history. George Washington, a figure of unwavering courage and integrity, led the Continental Army against the might of the British forces. Thomas Jefferson, with his eloquent pen, drafted the Declaration of Independence, a document that would become the bedrock of American democracy. The signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776, was the culmination of these revolutionary efforts. Each signature represented a pledge to uphold the ideals of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It was a moment of triumph, a moment that marked the end of colonial rule and the dawn of a new nation. But it was more than just a nation. It was an idea, a promise of a society where individuals were free to chart their own destinies, where the government was of the people, by the people, and for the people. It was a dream that continues to inspire and guide the United States to this day. The American Revolution marked the birth of a new nation, the United States of America, a nation born out of struggle and sacrifice. A nation that stood as a beacon of hope for those yearning for freedom, a nation that continues to shape the course of world history. As the United States of America emerged victorious from its revolution, it faced the monumental task of building a nation. The formation of the Constitution was a pivotal moment in this process. Framed by a group of men known as the Founding Fathers, this document outlined the principles of democracy that would guide the nation. It was a daring experiment, a blueprint for a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Next came an event that would literally redraw the map, the Louisiana Purchase. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson managed to buy this vast territory from France. This purchase doubled the size of the nation, opening up a wealth of opportunities for westward expansion. The United States was growing, but it was also fracturing. The issue of slavery had divided the country into the North and the South. This divide erupted into the Civil War in the 1860s. It was a brutal, bloody conflict, fought not just on battlefields, but in the hearts and minds of the American people. Key figures like President Abraham Lincoln and General Ulysses S. Grant navigated the nation through this tumultuous time with a steadfast resolve to preserve the Union. Following the Civil War came the Reconstruction era. This was a period of rebuilding and reconciliation, but also of significant political and social change. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 14th granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, and the 15th granted voting rights regardless of race or previous condition of servitude. These amendments reshaped the nation's fabric, laying the groundwork for the diverse, inclusive country we see today. From the ashes of civil war rose a nation reborn, united and ready to make its mark on the world stage. These chapters in American history were filled with struggle, sacrifice, and change. They were the crucible in which modern America was forged. The United States had evolved from a fledgling republic into a burgeoning power, poised to play a major role in global affairs. Fast forward to the 20th century, the United States had established itself as a global power. A significant event that solidified this status was the petrodollar agreement. This agreement, a landmark deal that would change the face of international economics, came about during a period of global upheaval, the 1970s oil crisis. During this time, the world was rocked by the sudden surge in oil prices. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC for short, used their control over oil as a political weapon, causing a massive oil embargo that sent prices soaring. Amid this crisis, the United States saw an opportunity to secure its position as a global leader. In the midst of the oil crisis, the United States struck a deal with Saudi Arabia, the largest oil producer within OPEC. The agreement was simple yet profound. Saudi Arabia would sell their oil exclusively in US dollars, and in return, the US would provide them with military protection. This was the birth of the petrodollar agreement. So, what was the impact of this deal? Well, it was monumental. The petrodollar agreement created a massive demand for US dollars worldwide. As countries around the globe needed dollars to purchase oil, the US currency became the de facto global currency. This allowed the US to control its own economic destiny, printing more money without the fear of inflation. But the agreement did more than just create demand for the dollar, it also linked the fate of the US economy with the global oil market. This connection has had far-reaching implications, influencing US foreign policy, especially in the Middle East, and shaping the global economic landscape. In essence, the petrodollar agreement was a masterstroke of economic strategy. It transformed the US dollar into the world's dominant currency and cemented the United States' position as a global economic powerhouse. The petrodollar agreement marked a new chapter in the USA's global economic dominance. From an undiscovered land to a global superpower, the journey of the United States of America is a tale of exploration, revolution, and resilience. We have traced the origins of this great nation, from its discovery by explorers seeking new horizons, through the colonial period marked by the mingling of diverse cultures and ideas. We have relived the American Revolution, a tumultuous period of change and upheaval, which birthed a new nation founded on the principles of liberty and equality. We've seen how the United States evolved through the centuries, morphing into the modern America we know today, a beacon of innovation, progress, and power. And let's not forget the petrodollar agreement, an economic pact that cemented the US dollar's dominance in global trade, a fascinating chapter in the nation's ongoing saga. The United States of America, a nation built on the ideals of freedom and opportunity, continues to shape the course of world history.